And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome in to your LSU Football Fix, presented by Celebrity Theaters. I'm Preston Guy, staff writer at TigerBait.com. Join with me, as always, each and every Monday night at 8 p.m. on the TigerBait YouTube channel is none other than Zack Nagy, publisher at Sports Illustrated's LSU Country. It's game week, Zack. What's going on, man? I don't know about you, but I am wildly excited.
Yeah, we're back. I mean, getting back into the Brian Kelly press conference this morning and getting the opportunity to hear him talk and go through game prep and everything that comes with it. It was a good feeling. I mean, it felt like we're back. So obviously long off season, just a completely revamped roster, spring camp, taking into summer workouts, SEC media days, and then fall camp to kind of put a bow on the off season. It's been a solid stretch, and now we're kind of back and ready to rumble.
All right, guys, y'all might have noticed a new background is Big Stack Kelly pointed out. Yeah, it is the new studio. The new studio is done. It is absurdly bland right now, and I do apologize, but they finished today at 4:30, and I said, well, what the hell? I can put my studio setup in there. I didn't have time to do the walls or consider a backdrop or any of this other extracurricular stuff, but I said, let's do it, man. Let's go in the new studio, give people a peek of what's to come. So I definitely have a lot more room than before. I'm excited to continue in this new studio and do stuff, but way more excited than, a $10,000 room I just built. Way more excited about football being back. We are so back, guys. I can't tell you. Even the little taste we got this weekend of just getting to watch, one ranked game, which, by the way, that Iowa State, Kansas State game, I don't know what was going on. Those guys were flipping drunk out there in Ireland. They must have been hitting the Guinness a little too hard because, that's a ton of fumbles, ugly game, lots of fog. Brother, but hey, look, Trey Holly hit an 80-yard touchdown. That was fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good weekend of football to start things off. Obviously, that game was absolutely drunk, like you alluded to. I mean, that was ridiculous, that Iowa State game. But saw Trey Holly get in the end zone in that game and check everything out. But now we're on to some real meaningful football. LSU week,
absolutely.
Game week. It's time to roll. I'm excited.
It is absolutely time to roll. Time to talk some football. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. We're gonna get to our first promotion for celebrity. Guys, I want this to be a comment-heavy show tonight. Hit me with some comments. If you got something particularly good, hit me with a super chat. We're gonna be engaging tonight. If any of the Bama fans who didn't like what I said on Carter Bryant's show yesterday don't like it, tell me why you don't like it. I'll talk about it tonight. I don't mind you coming in here and harassing me as long as it's not, personal attacks and don't go after Zack or anything or any, just stay respectful and keep it directed at me. Come at me, man. I appreciate it. I think that the audio clip, the way it was edited, made it sound a little stronger anti-Bama than I truly am. I think Bama, they have a good schedule this year. I look at it as only 4 games that they could lose. And I think they lose 2 or 3 of them. So I think Bama's like 9-3 or 10-2, and either barely in the playoffs or out of the playoffs, barely out of the playoffs. Okay, it is a talented roster. I've seen Ty Simpson play. Don't have a ton of faith in him, and I think the fact that he sat behind Jalen Milroe, despite how not great Jalen Milroe was, and I think anybody who's being honest about Jalen Milroe last year, I think a Bama fan will admit there was a lot that he was lacking that they would have liked him to bring to the table. I mean, he had as many interceptions as points against Oklahoma. So anyways, we are going to talk a little bit about the Bama controversy, I guess, if you would call that. We're going to talk a little bit about BK's presser. BK, a few notable nuggets, such as he wants to use 6 to 7 offensive linemen. He has, again, doubled, tripled down on how potent Clemson's pass rush is. Nussmeier in number 18. I talked to the OG 18, Matt Mock, about that. I'll talk to y'all about that. We'll, of course, talk this LSU Clemson matchup. What we think, we'll reiterate our opinions and tell you if we've changed from last week. We gave our season prediction. Zack was 9-3. I was 10-2. So we'll regurgitate that for y'all. Practice recap. We'll talk about the scrimmage we saw. We got to see the final scrimmage yesterday. So we'll go in depth talking a little bit about that. BK was talking about the serious demeanor of the players today. None of the sword thing, as he called it. I thought that was a funny comment. And of course, comments all night. We'll be getting to your comments. Before we dive too deep into that, guys, I really want to take some time to thank our title sponsor who makes our show possible each and every year. That is Celebrity Theaters, guys, with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. Guys, remember, they are Louisiana's only locally owned and operated theater. Because of that, you're guaranteed to see a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology, and of course, the Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade featuring over 50 games. It's the largest in town. They've got a bar featuring wine, beer, frozen drinks, the oversized leather reclining seats, and of course, the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system. Don't forget their weekly specials that they run. Monday is Senior Savings Day. Tuesday is Bargain Tuesday. Wednesday, half-priced arcade and college night. And Thursday is Thirsty Thursday. Guys, they do private events, whether it is your high school reunion, whether it is your class that you're trying to bring, whether it's a corporate event. Guys, they've got you covered. Okay? Events at celebritytheaters.com. to give them a look and get a quote for your next fun party event. All righty. What do you say we dive into some comments here? Of course, Fire 3449, as is tradition from the robot. Fire 3449, hit the like button. And because he's the first one to put that out there, we'll get his comment. Preston, who do you and Zack think will score the first touchdown for LSU this year? I think Tradez Green will be the first one. Scarborough said Hilton. Buddy said Nick Anderson. Okay. Is Caden Durham not the obvious choice for some reason?
I think Caden Durham's a good pick. I was on with Buddy the other day, and he asked me that question, and my answer right off the bat was Tradez Green. I mean, just because we've seen so much red zone work and third down work throughout fall camp, and Tradez Green is just eating ridiculously. I mean, this is a guy who they're going to target in the red zone significantly throughout the entire year. So for me, I guess it's a little bit of a bold take maybe to say Tradez Green. I wouldn't say too bold, but I definitely think Caden Durham is an obvious choice as well to throw in the mix.
I feel like the Caden Durham one is so obvious, like we owe them a little bit of a better answer. I mean, he's your starting running back. I guess the hot take would be Caleb Jackson, because if you get down to the one, maybe he could get a carry. If you want to talk about who catches the first touchdown,
yeah, good Tradez, man.
Yeah, I would have to say Tradez. But there's a lot of guys. I mean, yeah, Nick Anderson's a guy you're going to be looking for in the red zone. Chris Hilton's a guy who you're going to be, hitting over the top for a deep ball. I will go Caden Durham if you're asking me on the ground. If you're asking me in the air, I am going to go Tradez Green. Brad David, I enjoyed last week's show when Van was on. I could talk about the 2011 team for hours. Brad, me too, brother. Me too, man. There's a couple teams I could just go down memory lane and talk for 6 hours on, and that's probably my problem. Speaking of talking about teams, I wrote a column on the Joe Burrow versus Cam Newton 2019 versus 2010. I do love on special seasons, special players going and expanding ad nauseum. If y'all want to read that column, it is on TigerBait.com. Who was the greatest of all time, Cam Newton or Joe Burrow? I think it's a pretty thorough conclusion. It's a pretty thorough argument in favor of Joe Burrow there. Let's see here.
You've been getting into some crazy Twitter beef lately, man. You had that one with Cam Newton. You had the one with Emma. You've been all over.
Yeah. Well, the Cam Newton one was one I invited and wanted to take on, right? I wanted that beef because, they're just all happy about their Cam Newton getting his jersey retired. I'm not nuts over the jersey retiring tradition, which I know is an unpopular opinion. I just think it's unsustainable and you're taking good numbers out of it. I just wish you could do other things to honor players other than retiring jerseys. But he's absolutely worth it. But of course, you hear the point of Cam Newton is the greatest, most dominant player of all time, all that jazz. And that's always bothered me because I do think it's Joe Burrow. And it's Cam Newton is number 2.
They're like two different versions of dominant. You got like the physical specimen of Cam Newton, and you got a professional football player playing college in Joe Burrow. It's a unique debate.
Yeah.
It's a unique debate for sure.
Yeah, I just I mean, Cam Newton is the most physically freakish player I've ever seen play the position. He definitely was good, but I mean, I think that there was a lot of times where, look, man, I mean, if Mississippi State scores 18 instead of 14, we're not talking about Cam Newton in this conversation. I mean, certainly he was an excellent runner, and he had a season that was worthy of being an all SEC running back and all SEC quarterback, but we're talking about top 2 greatest players of all time. I would hope there are some points on that. Anyways, y'all go read the comments. We'll expand on that. Yes, I got into a little bit of a Twitter beef. The one on Alabama, I don't think I necessarily meant to start. I'm not super high on Bama because of what I've seen out of Ty Simpson and because I knew he was behind Jalen Milroe. I'm just not super high on them, and I think they're a fringe playoff team. And I don't think I believe that Bama is going to be this perennial contender post Saban. I'm not a believer in them in that context for the post Saban era. I think they're just going to be a good SEC powerhouse team, just like everybody else, man. Just like Florida, Tennessee, LSU. They're just one of the powerhouse contenders in a very tough conference. That's what I think their future is. Let's see here. Devin Johnson says he's heading to Clemson Friday morning at 6 a.m. That's cool. Good for you, man. Zach, are you making the trip? I know you do a few games a year, but this one probably would have been tough.
I'll be at Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. And one more.
I've actually got a maybe for. So if y'all know Mike Scarborough, y'all know he is notorious for not traveling. I have a maybe for him on the Ole Miss one. So that's probably the best I'll get out of him. He despises traveling. Let's see here. Free Trades. Sean Trent says 34-17. Oh, boy. Here's a really good question from Big Stat Kelly. Who's the first left guard that runs out there for LSU?
Go ahead. For me, it's Paul Mabanga. He's been the one who's getting a majority of the reps with the first team. I mean, you've subbed in Cohen Eccles. You've given him some run. I think that's going to be your second left guard. And then DJ Chester, of course, is in the mix too. But for me right now, man, I think Paul Mabanga is going to be the one that rolls out there. I think he's in line to get the start. But like Brian Kelly said today, and Preston and I will get into that a little bit when we talk about the Brian Kelly press conference. But Kelly alluded to the fact that they're going to put in 6, 7, or even 8 guys in there at Clemson this weekend. So the first guy that runs out there for me, though, is going to be Paul Mabanga.
Preston cooked with facts all day while Bama turns wide opinions. That's typically how it goes in sports. That's nothing abnormal. That's how fans are. But, I mean, you're upset. The clip was edited to make it sound like I was very, very, very anti-Bama, and I thought that they would lose a ton of games or whatever this year. I don't think I was as anti-Bama if you actually go watch the show as it sounds. I just don't believe in their quarterback, and I do think LSU wins that game. I don't know that it's just this dominating, flexing performance. I mean, Bama's got a good roster. I mean, Ryan Williams is either the best or second best player in the country, in my opinion. Now, Jeremiah Smith probably has something to say about that, but I think Ryan Williams is an absolute freak, especially from a talent standpoint. Let's see here. Lenore Sellers and Klubnik predicted to go top 5 in the draft. Yeah, that's all. Isn't this year a funny year for the QB class, and especially the NFL projections?
I mean, there's not a lot of proven guys. It's a lot of guys that are coming back and getting the opportunity to kind of take that next step. There's not that surefire pick. I know a lot of people want to talk about Arch Manning, but who knows if he even goes to the draft. So,
right.
And he hasn't even done anything in college quite yet. I think he's going to be a good player, but he hasn't done anything. So, yeah, it's a unique year for quarterbacks. Obviously, those are the 3 that are going to kind of be spearheading that push for the first overall player or first overall quarterback to come out, rather. So, it's going to be fun. It's 3 players that have the opportunity to really elevate their status.
Definitely, man. It is wide open. You know what might be the hot take? It's probably the most possible to be correct is what if it's a dude comes out that we're not talking about right now and he turns out to be the number one pick? I mean, nobody was talking about Joe Burrow.
I feel like not a lot of people were talking about Cam Ward in the number one pick conversation.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, there's an opportunity for that to definitely happen. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but like a John Mateer situation, like this is a guy, same situation as Cam Ward kind of was. Do I think John Mateer will be the number one pick? No. But could he? Who knows? Who knows if he goes off in that system?
Let's see here. Fire 3449 insists he is not a robot. Look, man, I don't have any proof of that. My photo is me of holding one of the 3 state championship trophies I won coaching at LHSAA Division IV swim championships. Well, look at you, man. Look at you. That's more than I got. I don't have any
the trophies.
All right, we're going to go with the off-topic one here. Big 12 champion. That is a good question here. Let's see here. Arizona State, Arizona, Baylor, BYU, Cincinnati, Colorado, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, UCF, Utah, West Virginia. I thought I would have a more competent answer.
Yeah, I don't.
After reading the list. It is wide open. I don't know.
Would a safe pick just to say would Arizona State be the safe pick? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, of course they would be. They got the quarterback coming back. You know, the coach is doing a real good job. They just made the playoffs there. I'm trying to think of what else stands out to me there.
We're SEC.
Rich Rod back at West Virginia. That's cool. Texas Tech is the dark horse. I'll tell you what, they have brought in a ton of talent through the portal. I'll go with that hot take and I'll say Texas Tech, but without having, I mean, we're SEC guys. I don't think I'm the most reliable source for what's going down in the Big 12. But it definitely looks wide open on paper. I mean, for sure that's kind of wild to me. How does this year's LSU's offensive line stack up against the rest of the top 10 programs nationally? It's a very good question. Bad. I would say a step below, at least.
I mean, when you look at those other teams, I mean, a lot of them have experienced players coming back. LSU's replacing an entire offensive line. I mean, it's 4 different starters. DJ Chester is a player who started last year but might not even start this year. So it's an entire different unit. So it's kind of unproven to this point. I feel like that's a question that we could definitely answer come maybe week 4 or 5 once we start to get closer to that midway point of the year. But definitely right now I would have to say that they're below those other guys.
I mean, what other top 10 team in the country is going to be breaking in 4 new starters? Yeah. And the one starter returning was your weakest guy from last year who is fighting for his life for a starting position. We don't even know who 2 out of your 5 starters are yet. So I pay attention to what's going on at other teams and schools. I don't know that there's any school dealing with what LSU's dealing. Also, it's not like they've been particularly dominant in fall camp. And the bar we've been talking about is, can they be average in the SEC? That means, can they be 8th out of 16 in terms of best offensive lines in the SEC? So, I mean, when we throw in a national dialogue to this conversation, guys, I don't think LSU is going to have this great offensive line. Brad David. Preston, how do you respond when people say Burrow had more talent around him than Cam had? Okay, I actually had 3 different angles to address that, and it was very wordy. So if you want to see the full answer to that, go to TigerBait.com and look up the column. Number 1 is that the stats and the output weren't close enough. If you're going to look surface level and say Cam Newton did the same thing Joe Burrow did, just because they went undefeated, won the Heisman, won the national championship, that's like saying a cruise ship and a jet airplane are the same because they both got you around the globe. Okay, it just isn't the same. Burrow had double his passing stats, and I would argue Joe Burrow was more well-equipped to use such dynamic weapons than Cam Newton was. Cam Newton had a cannon, but he wasn't this just accurate, dynamic play-reading guy like Joe Burrow was. Joe Burrow was an NFL quarterback. It was like basically lining up a top 10 NFL quarterback in college football and say, go ball and go see what happens. It was unbelievable. So he was more equipped to use them. I think the supporting cast around Cam is a little overhated, albeit I'm not going to sit here and beat on my chest about his receivers, but Ontario McCaleb averaged 8.5 yards per carry. He was the one who hit the dagger against LSU. Look at Michael Dyer. He hit 2 game-winning runs against Oregon. Look at the defense and what they did. They limited that dynamic Oregon offense to 19 points in the national championship. Cam Newton had some help. It's just completely overhated on. Joe Burrow's just numbers were otherworldly. So I think that it wasn't necessarily close enough to consider I think it's more of a tiebreaker type conversation. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he had 15% or 10% less output. And no, Joe Burrow had 28% more yards, total yards, after you include Cam Newton being a runner. And Joe Burrow played 7 top 10 teams that year, the most anybody's ever played. It was one of the toughest schedules anybody's ever played, and Joe Burrow still output like that.
Man, we're in Clemson game week, man. Don't talk to them about Joe Burrow and Cam Newton, man. We're in LSU Clemson 2025 top 10 matchup game week, man. We got bigger fish to fry.
All right, I'm late. Let's see this studio. Well, not much to see right now. Unfortunately, I gotta decorate it out, but I can tell you that we are wired for success. Dykes Electrical took care of the studio, so the lighting looks great. We just got to get some decor up, some sound barriers up, all that jazz. But yes, no, it is definitely game week. I just yes, an open-ended question like that. We'll see. Yeah, he said 7 to 8 players we'll see time on the O-line Saturday. Was it 7 or 8 or 6 or 7? I thought he said 6 or 7.
I think he said 6, 7, and then up to 8.
Up to 8, okay.
Potentially, man. I'd be shocked to see 8 guys roll out there, Preston, but nonetheless, he's confident that he has the ability to get those guys out there to get a feel for that rotation.
I'll say this all throughout camp. We've talked to Tyree Adams. We talked to Bo Bertelon a lot. All these guys are talking about they want 10. That's what Coach Davis is looking for. He needs 10 guys ready to roll. So, I think that to see that many, that doesn't necessarily surprise me. It does tell me, though, offensive line tends to not be a position that you rotate a ton. You tend to get your 5 and stick with them so that they can build chemistry and rapport with one another. Guys just play next to each other. They chip off each other. They communicate with each other. They just get used to playing a certain way. So when you're rotating fresh guys in and out, it's not like defensive line where you want to just be fresh and twitchy and go. It's a more focused position. So I find it a little problematic, in my opinion. But I think what it tells you is that they don't have their 5 they're looking for yet. They don't know who the 5 are. They're looking to go out there and try to block the best players in the country, because that's exactly what they're bringing to the table. I mean, they are bringing T.J. Parker, Peter Woods. These guys are very good. I mean, they've got just deep and talented defensive line. This might be the best defensive line in the country. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those things where, okay, someone got beat. Now we're gonna rotate him out and see who can make that block. So yeah, I wish I had a positive spin for that. I really do, but it's concerning.
That's where I'm at, man. Like, I'm sitting back and it's like you want to have your true 5 guys probably going into the last week of fall camp, and then you're entering game week where you still are unsure what you're dealing with up front in the trenches. It leaves a kind of uneasy feeling in my stomach going into week 1. That's for sure. I mean, you could see 7, 8 guys get out there, but nonetheless, you want to have your true 5 guys no matter what going into this one.
Count the money says Clemson 33-24, but I'm leaning 33-10. Regardless, he thinks it's going to be a blowout. Regardless of outcome, I'm smoking a fat cigar. Maybe that's how you have to be. Zack, what's your thoughts on the score? I know we both picked Clemson to win this game. What do you have any thoughts on the score?
Man, the more I think about it, I kind of look at that over-under. It's hitting at like 57.5 right now, and that's a pretty sharp line. In my opinion, I'm hovering around Clemson winning 30-27. So that line is pretty much on the money. But I'm leaning 30-27 right now. We'll see if that changes come Saturday morning. But for right now, that's where I'm hovering. Clemson 30, LSU 27.
I could see it being like a 10-point loss, something like that. Something like 31-21, something like that. And hear me out. The logic behind this is I do think they're going to be a closely contested game. I could also see it coming down to the end and Nussmeier has the ball and, has to force something that's not there because he's running for his life, and it's do or die on third down or whatever. And we've seen him in these situations look like a hero. We've also seen him throw some questionable decisions in his career. And I just don't think I think when he has to improvise and get on the run, that's when we've seen him struggle. So I could see something like 31-20, 31-21, something like that. More than happy to be wrong. I would love to do this post-game show after a win. I think I've only done one in my career at TigerBait.com, doing a post-game show with a win. That was Georgia Southern, 2019. American Patriot says, this will be the tale of the fourth quarter. LSU will wear out Clemson in the fourth. Our defense holds Clemson under 21. Is that a win, American Patriot? Am I seeing a win predicted?
If he is, by the way, I feel like if it does come down to the fourth quarter,
there it is.
LSU has the opportunity to have so many defensive pieces rotate in and out. And that's something that I was talking to Buddy about a couple of days ago, is that you have so much depth to where you have the opportunity that if this is a one-possession game come the fourth quarter, you could have so many well-rested guys to put yourself in a really good position. So I don't want to kind of contradict myself here because I do have LSU losing week one. But if it comes down to a last drive and you have to get a stop to win, LSU's front has so many pieces to work with. I feel like it would put them in a pretty good spot. I will say that much.
And look, guys, let me tell you this. I am fighting off the urge to say LSU could win 11-plus games this year. I'm pretty high on LSU. I understand that my predictions have been about one game too high during my time at TigerBait, so I'm accounting for some bias in there. I'm also accounting for that offensive line is concerning. The defensive backfield, I would maybe some spots here or there, but I really do think the defense is going to be good. But guys, I mean, look, I really don't want to fight anybody too strong to say LSU could win this game. I just logistically looking at it, it's a tough matchup. You're on the road. Your weakness pairs against their strength. When talking about in the trenches,
you did have them at 10-1 going into like the final week of the year. So
losing to Oklahoma.
If anybody in here thinks that they can go 11-1 or 10-2, it's Preston. Like he's definitely said that he could see that happening. I just continue to sit back and think about the offensive line and just underachieving in big time games and whatnot. I need to see it to believe it in order to kind of get a better belief. So could they go 10-2? I think they could, but that's why I'm kind of sitting at 9-3 right now. And why I think that Clemson matchup is going to be a pretty challenging one.
What really stands out to me, and I could go position by position, I think the defense 11 out of 11 are going to be better than they were a year ago.
Okay? No doubt.
11 out of 11 will be better. I think Nussmeier should take a step forward. I am taking a little bit of a projection there that Nussmeier does take that step forward. I think receivers are going to be better. I think running backs are going to be better. Offensive line's the one where it's objectively, it should be worse, and there was something you could desire out of that offensive line. So that's where my hesitation comes from. Typically, when I get high on teams, there's not like a glaring hole, right? Like I was high on 2013 LSU when I shouldn't have been. I was high on 2011 LSU when I should have been. Like everybody else, I was high on 2012 LSU. I was high on 2023 LSU because I couldn't see that defense being that awful. I could see I could have predicted the 2023 defense being as bad as the 2024 defense was, or even the 2022 defense. I just never would have predicted that it was basically a repeat of that Bo Pelini COVID defense year. So anyways, that's why I have shaved 2 losses off this team. So when you guys are coming out here and telling me 23-20 LSU beats Clemson, don't tempt me with a good time, guys. Look, I want to say it. I do, because in my heart, I believe in this football team. I do. But we're going to go with some brains. We're going to go with some analysis here. Yes, we got a Bama fan in here harassing me. I think a Bama fan. I watched the trouncing LSU got administered by Jalen Milroe last season. Milroe did not look good. He looked great. He absolutely looked sensational. He passed for about 100 yards. He ran hog wild. Jalen Milroe is an exceptional athlete. Runs very, very, very well. I think that's something that can be shut down if you have a good defense. LSU didn't have a very good defense last year. Hey, guys, guess what? Jalen Milroe ran all over LSU. Guys, the last 2 years, I mean, this defense has gotten just torched a lot of times by players who might have a good skill or two, but ultimately not that great. Who was the quarterback for USC? Miller Moss went hog wild on LSU.
That brings back like horrible, horrible feelings. Oh, my God.
So what I'm talking about, Bama, is not having to do with what they did against LSU last year. I just think they're a 9 or 10 win team. They have a good schedule, by the way. I love their schedule. It sets them up very well. Lot of favorable matchups. It's a doable schedule. Bama could be in the playoff in part because of that. I just, in terms of believing in Bama at the level that we're used to believing in Bama, I'm not there. And it has nothing to do with LSU versus Bama last year. LSU was objectively bad.
The national media is going crazy with Alabama right now, like putting them.
Yeah, they are.
Emmys, Natty, like they're going.
I get it. I think it relies a lot on the returning talent metric. I wonder if that might be an outdated metric. Although one Bama fan brought up a really good comment that they're going to have more continuity than anybody in the country, more players with chemistry.
That's why I sit back with Clemson. That's why I'm kind of a little bit higher on Clemson, is because they have so much returning talent too. So I get it. I get that perspective. But I definitely hear what you're saying too, Preston, is Ty Simpson's got to show it in order for me to kind of believe it a little bit.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. Look, there's never been a kid that I hated on where he proved me wrong and was great. And I was like, gosh darn it, how dare he work his ass off and ball out and set himself up to be successful in his career. If they do that, I'm happy for him, man. I am. I'm not sitting here hating. I also look at, and part of that was that I did predict LSU would go into Alabama and win. LSU's paying $18 million for this roster this year. Do you know what they paid last year for that roster?
I mean, not even a fraction.
$5.5 million. You can't tell me, especially in the last year, I've gotten a lot of more scoops and information about what was going on in this portal and players. You can't tell me that's not going to play a huge role for this team, right? I mean, LSU's basically paying, I believe the rumor was Ohio State paid what, $22 million? Was that the number you heard last year?
Hovering around that, right?
They're a little shy of that number. You can't tell me that you won't see a noticeable uptick in talent.
No doubt. I mean, it starts with the defense. Like, I hate to beat a dead horse here. I mean, we've sat here and talked about the defense routinely, but I mean, my goodness, when you see it in person during fall camp practice, and I know it's practice. I trust them. I get an in-game situation in practice, two completely different things. So I'm not going to sit here and kind of go on and on about it, but you just see the talent increase. In 2023, when you saw Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors connecting and whatnot during fall camp, you knew that those guys were going to take that next step and be elite. Defensively, you see Blake Baker getting his unit in stride and making them look like they have the chance to be elite if they truly want to and kind of get to that point and reach their peak. So the talent's there. And like Preston said a second ago, they put a ton of freaking money into this roster too. So you'll see an uptick in talent for sure.
Just play to play, I think you're going to notice just more competent players, more talented players, more speed. It's going to be a step more. Hey, Ivan, thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. Welcome to my show. Appreciate having other fan bases in here. We know we don't get too many of them. Hakeem Batiste with a great comment here. The weakest link on this team besides the cohesion of the O-line is the backup quarterback situation. That's very concerning. All right. I mentioned we were going to talk about practice on Saturday. Now, the biggest takeaway is that there was no takeaways, not very many takeaways from Saturday, right? It was kind of a nothing burger practice. I mean, it was more of a dress rehearsal. I mean, they literally spent, how many minutes did they spend switching out guys in the huddle?
Yeah, I think they did that for like at least we'll say nearly 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just going back and forth on that. I mean, they are definitely trying to sharpen the small little pieces, which is good.
Yeah.
But gives us
You need
not
to
too
do
much
it.
to comment on.
But media's never been invited to that Saturday before the season practice. At least in my lifetime, never been invited. I think we saw why. I think we saw why right there. And Nussmeier didn't throw in practice. He did hand the ball off a couple times. But yeah, both of those backup quarterbacks have shown problems all season long. Zach, if you had to pick QB2 on this team, who are you going with?
Yeah, I think it's obviously Michael Van Buren. Just the reps that they were giving him and whatnot. I don't really think it's too much. I think it's pretty stamped that's your QB2.
Right. But let me rephrase this. Not the one you think will be QB2. Who would you would pick him?
Personally, I'd still go with Michael Van Buren. I mean, look, I think a lot of people can sit back and say if your starting quarterback gets hurt, you're in deep doo-doo. I mean, I think a lot of people can say that for a lot of different programs. And I know that there are certainly going to be outliers where your backup is super talented and can kind of step in seamlessly. But we'll say 7 out of 10 programs, if your starter goes down, you're pretty much down for the count too. But to answer your question, Preston, I think Michael Van Buren is the second best quarterback on this team. He has SEC experience, even if you want to take it with a grain of salt, with Mississippi State for a pretty bad team, to say the least. He still handled business to a degree. So I think Van Buren would be the guy that we don't want to speak this into the atmosphere, but if something were to happen to Nussmeier, Van Buren would be your guy.
I think it will be Michael Van Buren. Let's, he that was a highly coveted transfer portal guy starting SEC experience, guy who's thrown for a lot of yards in a lot of games. Just from my eye in practice, I like what I'm seeing out of Colin Hurley in that competition. I think Colin Hurley has been probably the less boom or bust quarterback. But Michael Van Buren's just really inconsistent with that arm. It's dimes and ducks is what I see. And what do I mean by that? He will throw a laser, a beautiful pass. Just wow, that really wowed me. And then just a lot of like, man, you missed that guy? He was wide open in the middle of the field. What are you doing? So I like the consistency of Colin Hurley a little bit more, but I'm not paid $10 million a year to evaluate this. So ultimately, you should definitely trust the coaches above it. But in practice, from what I have seen, I like Colin Hurley a little bit more as your backup. But overall, if Nuss goes down, this season's in trouble, guys, because neither one of them looked great Saturday. Neither one of them have looked particularly great all fall camp. That's not to say after a few SEC starts, they wouldn't tighten up and get there, but they're not there yet. They're not. Let's see here. While we're on the topic of practice Saturday, let's go ahead and knock that out. Is there any other discernible points we got out of that? Quarterback struggled, wasn't much going on.
One thing to me that was kind of a standout, kind of a sleeper piece of that practice was true freshman defensive lineman Zion Williams. During one-on-ones, him and Brett Bordelon lined up against each other. And when I tell you, I think I saw the most dominant rep of all fall camp back to back. He did it once, and me and Bryce and Matthew Bruni kind of sat back and were like, oh. And then he did it again, and I kind of was just taken aback.
Yeah.
I mean, Zion Williams is a freak. This is a guy who is extremely strong for his age. This isn't a guy who's going to make an impact in 2025. I mean, the defensive tackle room is absolutely loaded. You got McKinley, Ahmad Bro, Sadir Mitchell, Bernard Gooden, Joan Washington, etc. So you're not going to see too much Zion Williams. But I'll tell you this. That, to me, was my big-time standout from that short little stint that we got up there, the Nothing Burger practice. That rep, those 2 reps back-to-back, man, Zion Williams, if he continues to trim off a little bit of fat, up the muscle, and get strength and conditioned, I think Zion Williams has a chance to be a really, really good player for LSU when his time comes.
Love that kid. He might not find a way on the field this year, but I mean, they have good D-line depth, really good D-line depth this year. I think that's going to be – would you say D-line's your most improved position from last year? Because they weren't awful on the D-line last year, but they certainly had their woes at times. But I think the edge is going to be one of the best units in the country.
I think for me, I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on and completely accurate. For me, it's hard to not sit back and really kind of talk highly of the safety room. I mean, Major Burns and Jordan Gilbert a year ago were abysmal, and that's being very nice towards that. For me, when you put DeMarcus Cooley and AJ Halsey in there, I think those are two guys who really elevate that safety room to make it potentially the most improved unit. But, man, you can't sit back and not talk about the edge rushers and those interior defensive linemen. There's so much depth. I mean, I don't want to sit here and sunshine pump because we haven't seen them play a big-time game yet. We will in a couple of days. But it's definitely hard to not talk about that safety room and defensive line room as potentially the most improved units on this team.
I'm hoping the safety room's the most improved. I don't know if I've seen it yet. I'm a little concerned about the DBs, a little concerned. And I'm going to lump them all together because I know ultimately if one position struggles, you might rotate a guy here or there because they're similar skills. So I'm a little concerned about the DBs collectively. Right now, Mansour Delane is the one who gives me faith. He looks good, man, real good. He had a pick in 7-on-7 yesterday. Saturday. He also had a dropped pick that he really should have had in 11-on-11, but he's playing phenomenal and he's tackling well. I love me a corner who tackles. I'm going to get to one more comment, then we're going to get to our first ad break and come right back. Gary Williams. So what if we win? Then will you guys believe? I'm not judging until I see this team on the field. Trust. All right. I'll answer this for you, and I'll let Zack tackle it after.
Yeah.
If LSU pulls off the win against Clemson, I am going to be preparing for a special season. I'll let you discuss what you think special season means, but I think it will be a special year if LSU pulls off that win. And by the way, I'm not the only media member who thinks that way. I've talked to, literally dozens of media guys, and almost all of them have this LSU Clemson game circled on their radar. And they're like, but if you go out and beat Clemson, then it's funny. If they say you go out and beat Clemson, a lot of them, they'll say, maybe I'm at 8 or 9 wins, but if they beat Clemson, I'm at 10 or 11. It's like they add 2 games for winning 1 football game. Anyway, Zack, what's your thoughts?
I mean, that's me entirely. Like I'll take my lick on that. If they go out and they beat Clemson, which, like you said, Gary, will we believe? I believe in this team. I don't think one game necessarily identifies what the full body of work will be. But what I will say is, if you go out and you beat Clemson, oh boy! I mean, you're in a situation where you can go 10-2, make a college football playoff, and then you have a potential Heisman Trophy winning quarterback on your roster, paired with a ton of different weapons to work with and improved defense. At that point, it's hard not to be ecstatic. But you lose against Clemson, and your back's against the wall, and it's go time from there. But I think Brian Kelly's going to have this team prepared. It's just going to be a matter of the trenches. I know that cliche is, real, where it says games are won and lost in the trenches. We'll see that on full display this weekend in Clemson.
Beating Clemson, especially if it's in convincing fashion, but beating them at all, I'll tell you what that win is to me in my heart. Oregon, 2011. Texas, 2019. Virginia Tech, 2007. Georgia, 2003. That is what that win would feel to me. If Clemson is as good as I think they are, I think Clemson's a top 5 football team going to make the playoff, going to win the ACC. That's what I think. So the feeling you got after watching those games I just mentioned, and I hope you've got chills down your spine like I do, that is this feeling I will have if LSU pulls off that win, those games. I'm trying to think if there's any maybe in the middle that weren't championship teams that pulled off a big early season win like that. Nothing's truly coming to mind off the top of my head, but that's what that means to me.
It's a tone setter.
It feels the same way as those wins to me. Anyways, all right. Hopefully, I'm not overhyping this. Let's talk about some sponsors, guys. Guys, you might have noticed the new studio tonight. We are in a new room. It got finished today at 4:30. And I said, well, I'll stick my computer in there. We're going to liven this place up. The lighting is good. The sound is great, guys. That's because we're wired for success tonight. And of course, the official electrical company is Dykes Electrical. They are the ones wired for success. Guys, no matter how big or small your electrical needs may be, Dykes is wired for success. Need a brand new studio for your TigerBait live post-game shows and LSU Football Fix weekly show? They can wire that. Need a new 10-story office building? They can wire that. 200 square foot warehouse you need built? They can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building, they can wire that. Changing out a breaker or a whole electrical panel or just a receptacle in your home or office, they can wire that. Upgrading old lighting in your home or office, they can wire that. Give them a call at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. One of the best things that I've enjoyed having Dykes as a sponsor, they're great people to work with, man. Very fun, interesting guys. Ricky, Chris, all these guys have been just great to work with. It was even better dealing with them on getting this project, just how well they communicate, how much care they put in your project, how they never make you feel, oh, my wife didn't like that this light was 1.5 inches off. Can you please? And they make you feel so welcome to get you wired for success. And guys, I would love to share that experience with y'all. I'm so happy that they took good care of us. You know who else will take good care of you? Boy, if you're looking for a cowboy ribeye, man, Struby's is the place to go, man. Struby's is located on 107 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge. It prides itself on providing a 5-star dining experience for a reasonable price. Struby's is locally owned with ownership in the building, taking a level of pride in their service that you don't just see from corporate establishments. They have a full menu of specialty meats, including USDA prime Black Angus steaks, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. And for those looking for something outside of red meat, they offer items such as the dry-aged pork chop, black truffle lobster pasta, redfish, and many more. Book your reservation online at Struby's.com. Zach, what's your favorite item from Struby's?
The crawfish mac and cheese was amazing.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
We went over there. I'll tell you this. We went over there, and I say it every time we talk about Struby's, by the way, so I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm from New Orleans. New Orleans, Louisiana. We pride ourselves with our food over there. So trust me, I know good eats. And I'll tell you this, Struby's has got it going on. I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about it, but I got a nice filet, got some crawfish mac and cheese. That food is the real deal. So Preston can endorse it. I'll put a stamp on it as well. That's some good food, man.
Love it, man. And guys, look, if you're ready to get geared up for game week, it's game week, guys. Y'all got to go out to Alumni Hall or order them online. If you're in Louisiana, they're shipping out from Louisiana. So you've got a better chance of it getting there than some corporate warehouse in New York or wherever else, the big guys are shipping out from, guys. It's the best place to get all your official licensed LSU gear. They're your ultimate shopping destination for Tiger fans. They got it all. Nike, Champion, Johnny O, On Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide. They've got Yeti, hats, gifts, accessories, whatever you need. Guys, it's really like Willy Wonka's Wonderland for an LSU fan. It's unbelievable. Go check them out at Perkins Row or shop online anytime at alumnihall.com. Make sure to use the promo code TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait, and you're going to save 10% on your order. You can't beat that deal, guys. They've got the LSU jerseys in, including Jaden Daniels, official named jerseys. They've got the Nike Pegasus shoes, and all your football goodies are in town. All righty here. All right. Is there anything we haven't gotten to? Okay. Garrett Nussmeier, named number 18. Of course, I've got a pretty good relationship with Matt Mock. He played with one of my classmates at Christian Life. So I was able to reach out to him and get a good comment from him. He's stoked, and he mentioned about the loyalty of Nussmeier and how he could have hit the portal and quit, but he earned Matt Mock's respect. I was very excited about that. By the way, Matt Mock mentioned LSU posted a video of a FaceTime, or LSU posted a FaceTime of them. He mentioned texting me about it. I thought that was pretty fun to get a little name drop or shadow drop, shadow reference on the LSU official page. So anyways, your thoughts on Nussmeier 18? I mean, because it's not necessarily universally loved, the tradition of number 18, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I got asked about it on the radio earlier today, and I'll kind of echo that same sentiment, is that this is the epitome of number 18. This is a leader in the locker room, a leader on the field, a player who kind of sat back, waited his turn. And I don't think you're going to have very many more Garrett Nussmeiers in the world of college athletics. This is a guy been here for 5 years, waited his turn, waited time and time again. So I don't think you're going to see much more of that anymore. So it's a rare thing to have a Garrett Nussmeier on your roster. The definition of number 18, sat back, waited, was patient, is a leader both on and off the field. I love it. And the same thing goes for Harold Perkins. And Brian Kelly talked a lot about it today, just saying that he got hurt last year, didn't get to rep the number 7 for the whole year. He wanted his opportunity to do so. So I think it's a really good opportunity. Throw Whit Weeks in as a permanent captain alongside Garrett Nussmeier. I think they did good when it comes to the leadership aspect of things this year.
I think Garrett Nussmeier embodies everything it is to be number 18. I like the tradition of give someone a special number. Okay. You need to make sure that they fit what it means to be that number. The 18 is a safer one because it's leadership. Having a talent producing stud 1-for-7, that can be hard sometimes. It's pretty easy to underwhelm the standard that is Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson. But anyways, the 18 tradition's a great one, I think. Nussmeier is as deserving as you can possibly be for that award. He's been nothing but a class act young man. Great honor for him. I thought it was very obviously going to be him or Whit Weeks. And I think they got it right. I think this is.
Do you think they should have done 2? Do you think they should have done 2?
No, that's cheap.
Cool.
No, it's not an honor if everybody gets a trophy. That's soft. Yep. Just one. Come on, Ogeron. Come on, man.
I had the same perspective. I was wondering what you'd say.
I hate the 2. I understand that 2 numbers are a necessary evil on a 150-man roster, right? There's only, now there's 100 usable single-digit numbers because 0's in the pool. So it's a necessary evil, but come on, man. If you're going to make it an honor, make it an honor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's yuck. Yuck. Anyways. Brian Kelly mentioned how players aren't doing the swords and hooping and hollering. First off, I don't know that I necessarily made note of that. I'm very much so like writing down the stats and numbers of what I'm seeing when I'm out there. Is that necessarily a truthful statement?
What he said, so we were all laughing about it just because what he said is true. Like players do that. That's like a thing. They go like that. It's not a sword. It's a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Like you put them in a seatbelt, like they're strapped. So he was trying. I mean, he wasn't wrong. But it was playful banter, man. Like, that's the thing about Brian Kelly when he does his press conferences. Like, there's little jabs that he does during them, but even after when he's walking out, he's always got a nice little closing statement. That was one that a lot of LSU fans and media all got to see of what he's truly about. Yeah, that's a thing, man. They do that. Those cornerbacks like to do that. Even if the ball's thrown 30 yards out of bounds, they're still going to flex it as much as they can.
Christopher Slim mentioning Dykes LSU gymnastics facility. They can wire that. They sure can at Dykes. Also, they wired the new LED lights at Tiger Stadium. So that's always cool. So it's always fun, just the variety of big and small projects that they can do.
See, that's a flex. We need to talk about that more when talking.
I know. Well, I try to as often as I can. I think it's personally the coolest thing I can talk about. Yeah. I guess from a marketing perspective, it's kind of intimidating. Like, oh, they did that. No. They do it all, guys. They did this studio for me. And guys, they have a good set. I have so many freaking outlets. I have a nice, what is it? The Wi-Fi auxiliary plug. And they knew exactly everything. They had all the special boxes ready for me. They knew exactly what I needed. And they got me taken care of for, they're very reasonable in their prices, very fair on their prices. A lot of people know they can get one over on you. They didn't try to do that. Let's see here. Ivan Salazar, who again is the guy who was very politely harassing me earlier, or us, I should say. Most Clemson talking heads feel confident Clemson will win. Most LSU talking fans have us losing this game. What a travesty. Show some confidence in the Bayou Bengals. I mean, I think if you're being objective on paper, I think Clemson wins this game. I think there really was. I mean, it's at Clemson. Clemson's a very good team, returning who might be even better quarterback than Nussmeier, possibly. His touchdown interception was certainly better, albeit a weaker conference. The only angle I would take to tell you that LSU should win this game, Clemson did go 0-3 versus the SEC last year, including South Carolina, who LSU beat, albeit a very tightly contested game. I'm just going to throw that out there and leave it, and you tell me what you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fact for the most part. When you talk about Clemson talking heads, I mean, they feel confident, as they should. They're at home. LSU's been abysmal in week 1 games over the last couple of years. But on the other shoulder, for me, you can talk about how Clemson struggled against kind of big-time teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
A team that LSU beat in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of just echoing the same sentiment, man. Like, I'm on the same page. I know a lot of people might want us to try to find a way to disagree and spin it off, but no, I mean, I'm on the same page as Preston to the point where there's confidence on both sides. I think the one for LSU is just a lot of people being timid in the fact that LSU hasn't won a season opener since 2019. They've struggled in those games. So I think there's a sense of kind of timidness when it comes to the people in Baton Rouge, especially for Preston. I mean, there's a reason why we have them losing this game for right now, is just because we got to see it to believe it. So hopefully Brian Kelly and this team can kind of shut us up and say, here, damn, take it.
Here's the deal. Ultimately, I mean, what's your game plan for taking care of TJ Parker and Peter Woods with this offensive line? I can understand if there was one guy like that. They got two.
Even three. I mean, they have the front four is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And not to mention their linebackers are also good. That's the thing a lot of people are. I mean, you got Sammy Brown. You got Woodaz back there. I mean, this is not a shabby team that we're talking about lining up against. I mean, I just don't know matchup-wise how I would – I mean, you're going to have to call a lot of screens. You're going to have to call a lot of screens. You're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to use quick passes. You're going to have to do some things and get them off their toes and get those knuckles stop being white.
Yeah, you're saying exactly what I said earlier, man. Like, they spot on. Screenplays, up-tempo, go fast. But, Preston, do look at that last question from Madison Smith. Check that one out.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what you have to say for that one for sure.
Okay, what is more likely, LSU starting 1-2 or starting 3-0? I feel like this can unravel very quickly if we don't. Man, that's a tough question. Because you got Florida, obviously. Florida, Louisiana Tech, Clemson. I mean, Florida's going to be a tough-ass team.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, look, man, that quarterback's no joke. Now, is he healthy?
That's the thing.
Here's the deal. I mean, 2-1's the most likely, but by far the most likely. I know this is going to sound like a cop-out, and it's a very good question, Madison. I will say they were equally likely, in my opinion. I think Clemson, has a slight chance over LSU. If I were to take that game, 10 times, I'd say Clemson probably wins 6.5. And I think it's the opposite is true for Florida. I think Florida, if they play that game 10 games, LSU wins 6.5 times. So I know that's a cop-out, man, but I literally believe they're equally likely, with 2-1 being the most likely. Over under LSU running for 125 against Clemson.
That's tough. I mean, I say under just because if we don't say under, then we'll just be sounding contradictory just because we're talking about how strong the front four is.
I think under probably under 100 if we're just being honest, especially once you account sacks as rushing yards. Because they're probably going to get 2 or 3 sacks on Nussmeier. They're probably, Caden Durham's probably going to pop off for 70, 80, something like that. I'd say under. And let's put it like this. LSU in its best seasons running the ball, like 2011, they ran for like 159 a game, something like that. So 125 is not a small mark by any stretch. I just hope they're able to get tough yards when they can. 3 or 4 yards at a time. We'll see. I'm going to get to a final ad break, and then we'll close out with more comments from y'all. But, guys, I got to thank Capital City Grill. One of the things we do with our sponsors here, guys, we try to partner with locally owned businesses that we've used, we trust, we go use frequently, and we know we can trust to provide a quality experience for our viewers, and I can endorse that with Capital City Grill. It's a more casual dining experience located on 100 Lafayette Street in downtown Baton Rouge. Capital City Grill is your ideal lunch or dinner stop for a casual dining experience. Capital City Grill features a variety of sandwiches, burgers, seafood, pastas, steaks, with most everything priced at $30 or below for a more affordable experience. Don't forget to celebrate a Tigers win at their Sunday morning brunch, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday. Guys, I'm going to tell you all about our friends Genesis of Lafayette, guys. They're your premier luxury dealership for a reason, offering the finest cars and SUVs in the region, coupled with the best service anywhere. Genesis of Lafayette has a huge inventory of new and certified and pre-owned Genesis vehicles. For a truly first-class experience, visit Genesis of Lafayette on 6600 Johnston Street. Here to exceed your expectations, Genesis Lafayette. Shop online at genesisoflafayette.com or give them a call at 877-856-2961. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. Hey, guys, level up your performance with Rejuvenate Medical. boost recovery, energy, and lean muscle the smart way. Feel the difference at RejuveMeMedical.com.
I decided to go to Rejuve Medical because I saw my energy going down, my weight going up, and my sex drive just wasn't what it used to be. I saw my energy level go up almost immediately. My weight loss, it took about a month and a half. I feel the best I've felt in a long time.
And of course, finally, Bay's Oyster Bar is one of my new favorite places to go out, guys. I'm a big oyster fan, but only if they're good oysters, and that's exactly what you're getting. You've got 3 types of oysters. You've got East Coast, West Coast, and Gulf Coast oysters, and it's crazy how different they are. The manager will be happy to tell you down and walk you the difference between the 3, and it's stunning how accurate their description is. Good, clean, delicious, charbroiled, raw, whatever you're looking for, guys, they've got you taken care of on the half shell at Bay's Oyster Bar, open at 315 North Boulevard in downtown Baton Rouge. They're serving up fresh farm-raised oysters from Grand Isle. No mud, no grit, just clean, delicious flavor. Not into oysters, they've got plenty of items to accommodate you. Boiled shrimp, their turkey brie or bacon sandwich, or even a classic roast beef po' boy. They will be featuring a fully stocked bar complete with top-notch bourbon, whiskey, and craft beer selection. Don't miss out on Baton Rouge's newest oyster spot. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. Let's get to a few comments here and close out our show here in about 5 minutes or so. Let's see here. Christopher Slim with another good comment tonight. I don't think we lose to Florida regardless of what happens at Clemson. Florida isn't winning here. Napier is cooked midseason. First off, Zach, are you offended by that?
No, I'm not. I mean, look, I'm a Napier. I love Napier just as a person, like obviously from back in the day, got to cover him and whatnot. But nonetheless, I mean, my agenda last week when it was us talking with Van was that LSU's not going to lose a game at home this year. So for me, I agree with you, Chris, is that I think that LSU's not going to lose to Florida at home no matter what happens against Clemson. I think that through 3 weeks of the year, the worst is LSU being 2-1. So I definitely think that LSU is going to handle business at home against Florida, no doubt. I don't think Napier and company are going to come into Tiger Stadium and get a win. No, not in 2025.
Hold up. I'm sorry. I meant this one. Tigers O-line will be fine. That's Mike Bowie. I hope so. I have officially come out and said I think they will work their way up to being average in the SEC, average SEC O-line. Over under Nuss, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. Well, what am I doing over under? The interception or the touchdowns and yards? I will say over on all of it. I think they're going to be down, and they're going to have to get behind Nussmeier's right arm to win this game. You think that's what's your thought, over under and all that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think over on yards, touchdown sounds about right at 2. I'd probably set the line at 2.5. So I like that. And then I think, there's going to be a situation where you have to loft up maybe some type of hero ball. And if you throw a pick, you throw a pick. So I like the line. I'm here for it.
Until LSU wins the season opener, LSU people will predict LSU to win. That's fair. And that's kind of what I'm doing, by the way. That's another major factor is look, Brian Kelly's had 3 openers at LSU, and he looked underprepared for all 3. So until he proves me wrong, I will continue to say that's a weakness of his. Now, it wasn't a weakness of his at Notre Dame, although it did start the year before where he had a struggle win against the bad Florida State team. But, yeah, I would say that is a very close. By the way, it's Big Stack. I know the South Park icon can be confusing there, but it's Big Stack as in a big stack of money. I'm not going to say what you said, although I do understand the confusion there because the big stack is going where, maybe a big sack used to be. Anyways, hope no kids are watching. This Clemson game will tell us a lot about how good LSU can be this year. They'll definitely be better at the end of the year compared to not factoring injuries. That's Travis Wilburn. And Travis, I'm right there with you. Like I said, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic about what I think happens if LSU wins this game. I think this is about to be a special season if LSU wins. I think this win, I will liken it to Georgia 03, Oregon 11, Virginia Tech 07, Texas 2019. That is how I feel about this game. Let's see here. What's going to be worse, the Sissy Blue or Death Valley?
Man, that
Zack?
Death Valley Jr. one that took headlines pretty quick. I'll tell you that much. So, and people like to try to find reasons to hate Brian Kelly. So I think that that one might take the cake.
Yeah, I about to say they do try to find reasons to hate him, and they find reasons to like Coach O. So, but that Sissy Blue one was just massive, man. I'll say this: here's why it's worse. Here's why it'll be worse if they lose, because you're going to the bigger Death Valley next year. You're going to LSU next year. So, yeah, no, and the whole look. If Clemson wins in both Death Valleys. Or if LSU wins both. If any team sweeps this series, just so we're clear, that's going to be bad for whoever else wants to claim the term the real Death Valley. Ideally, they split them and both teams can both be happy. Man, it'd be great if both home teams won and everybody can be happy, but I'm sure LSU fans want the sweep, no doubt. Let's see here. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but we do not shock the nation, and we do not have to listen to Notre Dame fans telling us how happy they are. Okay. I like having an 18 for each side of the ball. Fire. Oh, that's so disappointing. Yeah, see, now I know you're an AI bot. You're the most successful coaching AI robot in the history of history. And Fire, I'm totally kidding about all that. I just think you're like, it's crazy how good you are at the comment. Like now, and I appreciate you. Let's see here. Stack of cash or... Yeah, it could be a sack of cash. It could be a sack of cash. That could be appropriate. Okay. Let's see here. And we'll wrap up the show here with this final comment. I might have missed it, but have you discussed your preferred permanent opponents for LSU? Okay, that's a good one to wrap it up.
That is a good question.
I talked with Carter Bryant yesterday about it, and my ultimate take on the conference alignment is that it is much better than what we had from 2012 to 2023, where it's this one cross-division opponent garbage. Now you're going to be rotating 6 teams in and out. Wonderful. Much better. You're going to have more rotation. That way, if teams are down, which teams tend to be down for like half decades at a time, you're not going to just coincidentally roll a nice group of teams that allows you to have a successful run for half a decade because you got weak teams on your schedule. You play 6 this year, you're going to play 6 new ones next year. Love the rotation. But in terms of the 3, man, it's tough for LSU because everybody's kind of your rival, man. I guess Ole Miss is the one where I'd be like, come on, man.
That's my number 1.
You can't get rid of Ole Miss. I mean, the thing that always sucks is LSU has no in-state rival here. So a lot of these teams have like other rivalries that mean more to them. Like, sure, Texas A&M, that means a lot, but Texas means more to them than LSU will ever mean. Alabama, Auburn. I mean, LSU, Alabama means a lot, but that does, Florida might be one. Now that you don't have this cross-division opponent BS, I wouldn't mind Florida on the schedule every year. So Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Is that fair? I haven't juggled around all the other scenarios.
I think that's fair.
That's probably what I wouldn't mind Arkansas either. I wouldn't mind Arkansas. You could convince me of Arkansas over Mississippi State.
Arkansas is probably going to be my last pick on that.
What's your 3?
Probably Ole Miss, Arkansas. I mean, you could throw in like an A&M or a Florida, probably toss up.
I wouldn't mind A&M. That's what I'm saying.
That'll be fun.
There's half a dozen teams I wouldn't mind seeing. Alabama, I wouldn't mind seeing. I will argue they probably get Alabama because TV ratings, but I Ole Miss is the one. I'll say that. The one where I'm like, huh? Really? After all that history, you're taking them off? Anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all for watching the LSU Football Fix this week. Make sure to hit like on the video and comment and share to all your friends. It always helps with the algorithms and the rewatches. Y'all make sure to stay subscribed. Our channel continues to grow. We are cruising toward 40,000 subscribers. Guys, we've also hit 103,000 followers on Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, y'all make sure to watch. We've added over 20,000 followers in the last 60 days on Facebook. So that's growing rapidly. We love what's going on there. So appreciate all y'all support and watching. Y'all make sure to stay tuned. Mike and Buddy will be back Wednesday night at 6 p.m. for their weekly show. Y'all know that's always good stuff, always great when you get two veterans with 60 years of experience doing it, putting this together. Me and Mike will be back about an hour or so as soon as possible after the Clemson game to go live. And of course, then me and Zack will be back right at it next week at Monday. So y'all subscribe. Zack, where can they keep up with all your content, buddy?
Yeah, man. Twitter at Nagy20 is the usual. At Nagy20. Go to LSUSI. You can find as much content you want covering LSU. But, man, we're back. It's football season. Preston and I are going to have a ton of shows for you guys over the next couple of months. I'm ready to knock it out, man. Football season's here. Excited to talk about it, man. We got a lot to discuss over the next couple of months.
Appreciate y'all, and y'all have a wonderful Monday night. We'll see you next week.